Today I'm going to be swapping out my stock ECU in my Corolla XRS to a reflashed ECU from Monkey Wrench Racing. And the reason why I'm going to replace this ECU is because the reflashed ECU raises the rev limiter from 8200 to 8400 and lowers the lift engagement from 6800 to 5750. With that being said, let's go ahead and get this ECU installed. Before we do anything to the ECU, we have to disconnect the battery to make sure that we're not going to short circuit the entire car. Now with the battery disconnected, let's go ahead and take out the glove box. It's held in by one screw that holds the rod, and it just gets pulled out. With the glove box out of the way, we can see two screws that hold the ECU up, which we can go ahead and remove with a 10mm socket. Once the screws are removed, there's two clips on the bottom which hold the cover to the ECU, which can just be pulled off. These clips are pretty tight on though, so looking back, I'd recommend pulling the bottom clips out first before removing the screws on the top. The wiring harness consists of 5 plugs, which just need to be pulled out. Don't be too worried about mixing up the plugs when you reinstall the ECU. The inside of each plug is shaped differently, making it virtually impossible to mix up. And these are the two ECUs here. This is the reflashed one, this is the stock one. They're both the same part number. They look exactly the same on the outside, obviously. The difference is with the inside. So what I'm going to do is just migrate the mounts here from the old ECU onto the new one, just with these screws. Hopefully they come out nice and easy, and then we can go ahead and get this reflashed ECU thrown in here. Oh, well, that one's stripped, so that's amazing. That one's very stripped. This one's a little stripped, but it's not too far gone yet. Now it's too far gone. Wait, no, I can still catch it. Okay, come on. Oh. Okay, now it's really too far gone. Yeah. Yikes. So on the stock ECU here, this screw is stripped, and then this one, which I really try to get out, was very stripped. I'm not too worried about it. I have one mount on there, and if worse comes to worse, I can just zip tie the other side of it. This isn't a moving part of the car, it's just going to be sitting there, so I'm not too worried. Now the ECU might be in the car, but we're not done yet because there's another step involved in here. Because right now the car is not going to start. The reason is because we haven't done the next step yet. This is what happens when you try to start it without doing this next step. Yeah. It doesn't start. So the reason is because the immobilizer isn't letting the car run. So what we need to do is take a little paper clip and go under to the Obd2 port. But first we need to kind of demolish this paper clip a little bit. And that should be good enough. So down here in the Obd2 port, what we need to do is, and how you do this is you connect one paper clip on top and one paper clip on bottom, and it has to be in certain places. So on top, counting from left to right, we go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and on number 4, that is where our paper clip goes. And on the bottom, we need to count left to right 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is over here. Oop. The whole paper clip's falling off. Okay, it's very difficult to do with one hand. One, two, three, four, five. Now the paper clip's in there. And now what we're gonna do is, first of all, get your phone out and go over to your clock, and you can either do stopwatch or timer. You really should do timer. And I'll do 30 minutes, and I'll give myself a little leeway here and do 30 minutes and 5 seconds. So what we're gonna do here is go over to on and switch it to the on position and click start. So now we see all of these lights flashing. We have ABS flashing, cruise control flashing, There can be others. The airbag is also flashing, and you really have to watch this timer. So now it's at 29 minutes and 30 seconds. You have to let this sit for exactly half an hour. It has to be exactly half an hour. If you do 29 minutes and 59 seconds and 59 milliseconds, okay, maybe not that much. If you do anything below 30 minutes and then you take the key out, you've wasted more or less half an hour. Because the car's not going to accept it and you're still going to be stuck. So it has to be exactly half an hour. So make sure you have a battery that's strong enough to do half an hour like this, and make sure you have a stopwatch counting the time, so when half an hour and exactly half an hour is up, you can take the key out and pull the paperclip out. So now it's just a lot of me sitting here doing nothing. I'm going to turn my head unit off.
Front mount stabilizer.
Okay, so if I've done this right, I should be able to turn the key off, pull the paper clip out, and then start it. There it goes. Yep.
Hey, it started!
Yeah, it's on.
I can physically hear your smile.
Hell yeah. So, obviously, this is the test drive part of this video, so start it up. Starts up perfectly. I don't have my check engine light on right now. I don't have any of the warning lights on right now, which is super nice. Okay, so just regular driving. It's pretty much the same like before, which obviously it's a stock ECU. The only thing that's been reflashed is lower lift engagement and slightly higher redline, and then maybe adjusted a little bit for the intake, but just normal driving, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's when you step on it where things change. Yeah, I wasn't about to wait there. To be fair though, I should have waited there, because then I would be able to do a pull on this road. But, oh well. Check mirrors. I think we are in the clear. I'm gonna go ahead and slow down. I think this is the exact same place I did a pull last time. Come to a stop. And soft launch. I said it a little bit late. That's 80. I'm gonna make a U-turn here. I said 60 a little bit late. I kind of forgot that I'm saying the speed. Okay, before that next truck comes, it feels like it slightly bogs down a little bit. Okay, there's a truck coming up. That's 70. I didn't go all to 80 this time. It feels better. I think this is a lot better of a lift point than stock. Well, obviously, realistically, anything is better than stock, considering that the stock lift point is about 6,800. All right. Okay, so I think that might just be in my head a little bit. I don't think it's actually bogging down. I think the transition point is just something I have to get used to, because it doesn't kick on like it did before. When it was at 6,800, it's a significant difference between the small and the big cam. Whereas with this new lift point, it sort of transitions into the big cam a lot smoother. So it doesn't feel like it comes on as strongly. But what do I know? You know, with everything I've seen now, I would still recommend it if you're on the more lightly or even stock engine. If you have more modifications, say intake plenum, headers, cat back, or even cat delete, then I might suggest getting a different, maybe more custom reflash. But where I am right now in terms of modification, I'm pretty happy with it. Guys, don't actually take your phones out and do this, especially when there's a car behind you. we put the phone away. I'm not gonna lie, part of me is going to miss the stock lift engagement point. I mean, when it was at 6,800, it was just a very special feeling to go all the way up the rev range and then at the end of it, bang. And it's such a difference going from the small cam to the big cam at that high of an RPM. Part of me is gonna miss it a little bit, but this Reflash is just better. It's really just better. All in all, this is definitely a pretty decent Reflash option, and you know, maybe if you're looking around for Reflashes for a Corolla XRS, a Monkey Wrench Reflash might be in your consideration. I'm not saying this one's way better over other options because I haven't tried other options, but you know, maybe this one's one to keep in mind if you're shopping around. And that is the Reflashed ECU installed and tested. Overall, very happy with the purchase, and next year we'll see if the car is going to pass emissions with the Reflashed ECU. Who knows? Now, originally this video was going to have side-by-side footage of stock versus Reflashed, 0 to 60, 0 to 80, but that kind of just fell through, and the reason is because it wasn't a fair comparison. When I launched the car on stock Reflashed, I launched it pretty slowly, so it took significantly longer to get to 60 and get to 80 compared to the Reflashed, which had a stronger launch. So I decided not to include the comparison. It really wouldn't have been a fair comparison. The Reflashed one would have looked way faster than the stock one, when in reality, they'd be closer matched. So that's definitely a fault on my part. I definitely should have gone out with the stock ECU and done multiple runs to get the best comparison possible. With that being said, thank you very much for watching today's video. If you want to see how to convert all the lights in your Corolla to LED, then click up here and click over here to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.